Okay, so a week has gone by, and sorry for the nasally voice. I am unwell at the moment, unfortunately, but the brewing must go on. So now we're going to put the wine into secondary fermentation, which just means that it's going into the Demijohns now after it's spent a week in primary fermentation. Look at that as well, it's looking good. So it spent a week in primary fermentation in the bucket, and now it can do the rest of the 2 months and 3 weeks before we bottle it in the Demijohns. So for this we obviously need, excuse me, I've done a gallon and a half of wine, so we need a 1 gallon Demijohn and a half gallon Demijohn. So however much you've made, make sure you've got Demijohns big enough. We've got 2 airlocks with sterilised water in there. We have a siphon tube, which is going everywhere. We have a draining bag and another fermentation bucket, and everything has been sterilised again. So what we're going to do now, we are going to pour all of this wine must out of this bucket into the draining bag, into a nice, clean, freshly sterilised fermentation bucket. Okay, well, I hope you can all see me. I need to get a tripod. I don't know why I haven't got one. Okay, so I'm going to try and get all this on camera. Hopefully you can all see me. It's smelling nice. Okay, so yeah, I'm in an older t-shirt now, which is darker. If it gets wine stains on it, it's not too much of a big deal. But yeah, be aware of that. Red wine especially can stain, so don't wear any nice new clothes, that's for sure. Okay, here we go. So nice and slowly. This is splashing a little bit, so I'm going a bit too fast. Yeah, a lot more berries than I remember. I didn't think I had that many, but it was coming out quite strong. Oh, careful. Yeah, there were a lot of seeds this year as well. Okay, that will do. Now we're going to leave this draining bag in there for a couple of minutes. You can let it drip through. Whatever you do, don't squeeze these if you can help it. If you squeeze too much, you can get just some pulp, and I guess some of the old yeast. The taste could be affected basically. Alright, let's see how we're doing gallon wise. So just above 6 litres. Do we have enough? Well, let's let it finish draining and we'll find out. Alright, so this has been draining just for a couple of minutes. My strainer was actually touching the wine. It's all sterilised, so it's absolutely fine. So I've had to sort of put a little peg there to make sure the bag drains through okay. Alright, so we're looking at about 6.5 litres here. Now I may be a little bit short on my 1.5 gallons, we'll have to find out. But yeah, I'm not going to squeeze this bag. As soon as it finishes dripping, I'm just going to give it another minute or so. We are going to discard of it anyway. I like to chuck the berries in the garden. like a compost bin or anything, it's fine. I do believe some people cook with it. I don't usually do that, so choice is yours. Okay, so hopefully you can see me okay again. So now we're at the stage where we are going to take the must here, the wine must, or the liquid that we have left over now the fruit has been removed, and we're going to put it into the demijohns. So this is where a siphoning tube comes in handy. The one I have has this little cap on the end that prevents any yeast cake, or as much as possible, sitting on the bottom of this fermentation bucket, getting into these demijohns. Now, we want to minimise that as much as possible, but we will naturally get some yeast cake in here, so it's fine. Now, the smart move would be to fill the small demijohn up and then fill the large one, and any liquid that we're missing in the large one we can dilute with sugar and water. What I'm thinking though is I would like more bottles of wine which don't have any additional sugar added, and then top this up, even though we may be topping it up a lot. See if there's a difference in flavour. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. It's a little experiment. At least I know I'm going to get 6 bottles of what it should taste like. Now, here we go. Now, this is going to be tricky, and you usually make a mess doing this. You kind of have to, gravity will feed this into the demijohn once you start it. Okay. Alright. Let's see if I can do this. Oh no, I'm losing it already. Okay, stay there. I think we got it. So yeah, you won't be able to see this off camera, but I am siphoning from the fermentation bucket into this demijohn, which is going to get heavy. Okay. Well, there is demijohn number 1. Right. Hopefully we don't have to suck on this again. I don't think we do, actually. Put that down inside. Do you know what? Let's put the airlock in there. There we go. So that's completely sealed now. Right. Demijohn number 2. Now this one should be a bit lighter. Okay, so gravity is doing its thing. Tip this bucket. So yeah, not a lot of yeast cake that I can see in there, but still I'm going to try not to get an awful lot in here. There we go. Okay, so that is all of the wine out of the fermentation bucket. So as you can see, we're a little bit low on here. Now we could just leave that, but I am going to add a little bit of water and sugar to top that up, and I may also top up this a little bit here. Now I did just drink a little bit of the liquid out of the fermentation bucket that was left, and even though it had little bits of yeast in it, my gosh, it was very nice, very tasty. So this one should be coming out potency wise a little bit like a dessert wine. So I am a fan of dessert wines. I did work in a wine shop many years ago, and it was one of the few wines that I did enjoy drinking when we had to do little taster sessions. Okay, so I'm going to sterilise a jug and we're going to fill these with water and sugar. Okay, so just have a look at this colour in the light before I pour the sugar in. I think it looks so nice. I hope it comes up on camera. So what I did here, probably a bit of overkill. I put 2 cups of water at room temperature in there, and I added 200 grams of sugar. Now for this wine I think 200 grams is probably a little too much, but it's not going to do any harm. We're only going to top this up, and I don't even think we're going to pour the whole thing in, but be absolutely fine. So yeah, I'm going to try and get it on camera, me topping this up, and then if there's any left over I will top this up ever so slightly anyway. So I'll try and get an angle for that. Alright, so this looks like a pretty good angle, and that sugar has really dissolved. Okay, so everything is sterilised here, so I'm just going to top that up. Gosh, the 2 cups milk was probably about right actually. I was only going to do 1 cup. So there we go. We've filled up that spout. So you do want to leave a little bit of air, or a little bit of a gap, because this, as the fermentation gets going, it will bubble slightly. It's not going to touch the top either, that's absolutely fine. So let's just top up this one as well. We won't waste this sugar and water. There we go. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so yeah, make sure these are at room temperature. With the light shining on it there, you can actually see it fermenting. I'll bring the camera over. So this one really did enjoy that sugary water. You can see it foaming there. So that one's going to be aggressively fermenting in no time. And this one here, we didn't add very much, but hopefully you can see it on camera. There's a few little bubbles coming to the surface. And these airlocks will start bubbling in a couple of hours. What I'll do, I will come back to this tomorrow and show you the fermentation as it's going on in the Demijohns. Okay, it is the next day, guys, and I'm still poorly and nasally, sorry. But have a look at these two. I don't know if the colour comes through on this video, but it looks absolutely gorgeous. Now, I did have to take some wine out of this and redo the airlock on this one last night because yes, the fermentation was a little bit too aggressive and it made its way up through the airlock. So yeah, I took some out of that, redid that airlock, and just for good measure took a little bit out of here as well. But this is it now, guys. You have to leave this for about another 2 months and 3 weeks, and keep an eye on it. Make sure that it's still bubbling away and you're still keeping it around 22, 25 degrees C, and yeah, and you will have some lovely wine at the end of it. So thank you for tuning in. Look after yourselves, guys, and please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.